Alright, continuing, guys. This is my love again for Sister Talk. Continuing our conversation about parenting and some of the single parents faux pas. So, as I was saying before, a lot of times, you might see the other parent as if, something is wrong with them. They shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do that, they shouldn't have this lifestyle and that lifestyle. And the child is not seeing all that. The child is only seeing, this is my mom, this is my dad, this is my dad, this is my mom. And that's all they care about, regardless what you may think the other parent may be or is to your eyes. It does not conclude that's what the child also sees. Eventually, sometimes you may see some children may kind of draft the similar perception one parent may have, but usually, even if they pretend, I don't like my mom or I don't like my dad because this is how they treat me, da 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 da, it has something to do with whatever that they've been exposed to. But deep inside, even when they're seeing it, it's still hurting them. So that's it for that. I mean, just to make sure, don't talk bad about the parent to the child. Don't talk about the parent to other people. Don't just keep perpetrating not necessarily a lie. It may be the authentic story of whatever it is, but just, you just don't keep going around and talking bad about it. Of course, when you meet people, you try to get to know one another, and they may ask you about your life. Are you a single parent? Are you married? Are you this? Are you that? And you could be authentic and say, oh, this is who I am. I'm single, or I'm married, or I'm a single parent, or the other parent passed, or whatever the story may be. You just tell them the truth. But it doesn't mean that you have to go back into the same stories and just keep repeating the same thing, and next thing you know, the same pattern repeats. And the next point is that for having a child having to go through all that, you often may feel guilty. You don't know, what should I do? Should I just let it be? Should I let this child have their way? You don't know what to do sometimes. It becomes challenging, especially sometimes, regardless girls or boys, especially when they start growing up, they start getting to the 4, 5, 6 years old, when they're seeing everybody else is having both parents picking them up, they go into the park, they doing things, and they're not understanding, why is it only one parent for me? Or sometimes you could find one parent could have been coming around, and something could have happened that stopped them from continuing to visit with this child, and the child may be impacted, and you could start seeing some irregular behaviors in school or even at home with other children. They may become a little bit more aggressive than the typical kids. They may become a little bit more mouthy than they've been before. You may see some different behaviors that might not be so tasteful, but you just gotta hang in there, and you still have to discipline them. You still have to, if it has whatever method of discipline that you use, that it's gonna be timeout or taking stuff away from them. But just always make sure to talk to them, regardless, whatever method of discipline you're going to use, that you're gonna stop the TV time, or you're gonna not take them to the park, or no ice cream, whatever that you may choose to redirect them to a proper behavior. Just always make sure to tell them why, to tell them, listen, I know you used to behave, fine. What changed? What happened? Even if you may know what's going on. So you could just have a talk with them, and you might think they're not listening. They're always listening, and they might not seem that for their little age or their little height that they can fully understand what you're saying to them, but you will be surprised and so amazed when you find out that they actually do understand and they do hear what you say. So just spend some time with them. Sometimes, if it's going to be once or twice or 3, 4 times a month, you just want to take some intimate time with them and sit down and talk and just keep reassessing. That's what I would say. Just keep reassessing constantly to make sure that they are okay. I'm not saying that to keep asking them, oh, are you missing your dad? Are you missing your mom? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, are you okay? Did everything, was everything okay in school? Did anything new happen? Just a basic, typical conversation. They might not want to tell you at the time that you're asking, but be assured that they will come to you and just tell you everything that you inquired about that they didn't even want to answer you before. So you definitely gotta stay consistent on your method of discipline, because they may try to manipulate the situation sometimes, and the feelings that you may have of feeling guilty, you know, I shouldn't have been involved with this person, I shouldn't have been this way or that way, then you may want to overcompensate. You may want to, like, you know, instead of buying one Barbie, you want to buy like 10 Barbies. You know, instead of buying just a pen, you want to buy 10 pens. Instead of buying one car, you may want to buy 100 cars. And sometimes the kid might not even care, but you just keep doing these extra things. Instead of giving one ice cream, you're getting 10 ice cream. Instead of giving one candy, you're giving 10 candies, and then you end up being in trouble, having to take them to the dentist and do this and do that, etc. So practically try not to overcompensate, try not to be just try not to overcompensate. There's no other way I can say this, because then when you keep overcompensating, it's gonna be hard for them to understand later on in life that they're not entitled to everything. That sometimes it's okay to say no, or to be said no to. It's okay to wake up and not to have extra money to spend. It's okay to wake up and, I don't know, don't wake up in a mansion. It's okay to wake up and go do your own bed instead of someone else doing it for you. So, you know, it's good to kind of assess your compensation method to make sure that you're not overdoing it. You know, you don't want to give a 3-year-old $1,000 or $100. I mean, what they're gonna do with it? But if you give them $1, you walk them outside, you go to the ice cream truck or whatever convenience store nearby you, you just buy one thing and you come out. It's just, it's simple. So, and the last part is, might sound to some a little bit weird, but it does happen. The last part I mentioned is, don't curse at your child or don't blame your child. A lot of times some parents, I do not know why, they may try to blame the child. They may say things that are very awful, that can be like, you know, oh, you're just like your father, look at you, that's why I don't want you, that's why. I mean, I know it sounds cold, but believe it or not, some people actually do say these things. Some people, you know, they do say these things, not only when the child could have been young, but they say these things even when the child understands everything, when the child is a teenager. They often chastise them, let them know that, oh, you're just like your father, that's why you're so mean, that's why you're so this, that's why you're so that. It's very hurtful, because you're talking about a father or a mother that may have not necessarily have a parenting role in their life, and now you're comparing them exactly to that person that they may love but do not necessarily inspire, that might not inspire them to do anything better. I mean, they may inspire themselves and say, you know what, I don't want to be like you, I'm gonna do better. You hit my mom, I don't want to hit my mom. Or you abandoned me, I'm never gonna abandon my kids. They may inspire to do better, but it does not mean that this parent who's absent or who choose to be absent is necessarily a role model. So when you're comparing that child or cursing to that child by using that other parent that you so dislike, I mean, you do the math. Just think about it. It's very hurtful. It's very damaging. Later on in life, when this child becomes an adult, a full adult, and you an elderly or so, they may tend to resent you. And sometimes, unfortunately, that's how you see some people are in places and there's no visit. You know, it's not necessarily, I'm not saying this is the situation for every person. If you go to a nursing home or a rehab and you see this person, oh, they must have been bad to their kids. That's not what I'm saying. Some kids are also ungrateful. They just don't care, you know, or they just don't care at the moment, or they just don't understand. They just don't have the capacity to understand. And as Maya Angelou said it best, when you know better, you do better. So maybe that's all they knew at this time when they make that mistake. Nevertheless, coming back to our topic of single parents faux pas, you know. Just make sure when you are going through this situation, when you have a child or children, from a relationship where this person is no longer involved or is not involved, just do your best. That's all you could do. Just do your best. You're not gonna make any, miracle. You're not gonna magically make this person come around. But the only thing you could do is just keep telling this child, hey, you didn't do anything wrong. It's not your fault. This has nothing to do with you. The fact that your parent is not here, or your parent choose to do something else, or sometimes, unfortunately, some kids even may bump into that parent. They may know that parent. They may know that this is my dad or this is my mom down the street doing this and doing that. And it's so sad. I mean, we'll never come to understand why some parents would choose to have such lifestyle where they know their kids are left behind and they're completely not necessarily okay with it, but I'm sure deep inside there's always something missing. There's always a hole. There's always a void that needs to be fulfilled or covered. But it's just something that they do. But